The Eclipse drifted through the vast expanse of space, its engines purring steadily, and its crew still buzzing with the awe of the morning's events. Word of Leo's heroic navigation through the asteroid field spread quickly across the ship. Everywhere whispers circulated, "The human did it again. Only a human could do this." Even the skeptical officers who had doubted his skills could not deny the evidence. Humans were no longer seen as minor participants. They were becoming indispensable. And yet, Lady Vexra knew that admiration alone would not prepare the crew for what lay ahead. The fleet had been patrolling a sector known for spatial anomalies, regions where energy fields twisted unpredictably, and ancient debris floated in chaotic patterns. Sensors now detected a massive energy surge nearby, one that exceeded anything the Coalition had recorded before. The readings were alarming. "This is serious," Lady Vexra said, gathering her senior officers in the command chamber. "The energy surge could destabilize multiple ships in the fleet. We cannot ignore it." "We need solutions, and fast," Serath hissed, crossing his clawed arms. "Why involve the human this time? Surely the engineers can handle it." Lady Vexra's eyes narrowed. "The engineers can handle routine adjustments. But this is unpredictable. We need someone who can improvise, someone who can adapt under pressure." She looked directly at Leo. "Human, you will lead the response team." Leo's heart skipped a beat. The responsibility was immense, but he remained calm. "Understood, Admiral. I will do my best." The engineering bay became a hive of activity. Humans, aliens, and AI systems all worked together under Leo's direction. Unlike his alien colleagues, Leo did not rely on rigid procedures. He encouraged the team to observe, experiment, and adjust in real time. "Energy readings spike unpredictably," he said, pointing at a display. "If we rely on automated responses alone, the system will overcompensate. Instead, we reroute excess energy through temporary stabilizers and adjust power flow manually." "Watch me first, then follow my lead." The engineers hesitated. Humans often seemed reckless to the aliens, daring to act where rules dictated caution. But Leo's calm confidence reassured them. Slowly, they began to follow his instructions. Within minutes, the Eclipse's readings began to stabilize. The surging energy that had threatened to destabilize the ship was redirected safely through auxiliary channels. Sparks of concern flickered on the displays but faded as the system balanced itself. Cathal, usually precise and cautious, glanced at Leo. "You trust instinct over protocol, and yet it works." Leo smiled faintly. "We adapt. We improvise. When a system fails, we find a way around it, not just wait for instructions." Even Lady Vexra could not hide her admiration. Humans were proving their value once again, not by following rules, but by thinking beyond them. Hours passed, and the energy surge continued to ripple unpredictably across the sector. The fleet communicated continuously, sharing readings and updates. Despite their advanced technology, other ships struggled to cope. Only the Eclipse under Leo's guidance remained stable. Then a sudden alert flashed across the command console. A massive object had appeared in the sector, an enormous derelict vessel drifting silently. Its origin was unknown. Sensors detected powerful energy emissions, and its sheer size dwarfed even the Eclipse. Lady Vexra's voice echoed in the chamber. "Prepare for inspection. This is unknown territory. Proceed with caution." Leo stepped forward. "Admiral, I recommend we approach slowly. The energy emissions may interfere with our systems. We should scan for weaknesses before boarding." "Do you have another plan, human?" Lady Vexra asked, her tone challenging. Leo shook his head. "Not yet. Observation comes first. We cannot rush into something we do not understand." The fleet adjusted its course, following the Eclipse toward the massive vessel. Sensors probed its hull, but the readings were irregular, fluctuating wildly. The derelict seemed alive in some way, as if it reacted to the presence of the ships. "Unpredictable," Cathal muttered. "No design should behave like this. It defies logic." Leo examined the data carefully. "It doesn't defy logic. It just doesn't follow the patterns we are used to. If we treat it as a living system, not just metal and circuits, we can predict its responses." Lady Vexra raised an eyebrow. "A human intuition against a machine's complexity. Interesting. Proceed." As the Eclipse drew closer, the derelict suddenly emitted a pulse of energy. The fleet shuddered. Systems flickered. Communication struggled. Even the AI began to hesitate. "Manual override," Leo called. Everyone switched to direct control. Trust your judgment. Don't rely on the AI for this one. The engineers acted quickly. Leo guided the ship carefully through the energy pulse. Other ships in the fleet struggled and wavered, but the Eclipse moved steadily as if the ship itself trusted its human captain. Lady Vexra watched quietly. She had led countless missions and faced dangers far beyond what most could imagine, and yet she had never seen a human act with such calm clarity in the face of unpredictable threats. Remarkable, she muttered to herself. Only a human could do this. Leo's eyes were fixed on the derelict vessel. There are weak points in its energy field, he said, analyzing the readings. If we can synchronize our shields with the pulses, we can board safely. But we must act quickly. The energy patterns are changing, he turned to the crew. Prepare the boarding team. We go in carefully, step by step. Observation first, action second. Trust your instincts. The team followed his lead. Humans, aliens, and AI systems moved together in coordinated steps, where machines might have overcomplicated the approach, and aliens might have frozen under doubt. The team adapted continuously under Leo's calm direction. Inside the derelict, the team discovered signs of advanced technology far beyond anything in the Coalition. Systems hummed with unknown energy. Strange lights moved across walls. The ship seemed aware of their presence, shifting subtly as if responding to their movements. Careful, Leo warned. It's reacting to us. Move slowly and observe. Don't touch anything unless you are certain it's safe. The crew obeyed. Step by step, they explored the ship, scanning every panel, corridor, and control center. It was a delicate operation, requiring both skill and intuition. Humans excelled at improvising when unexpected events occurred, and Leo's leadership allowed the team to act with confidence. Finally, they reached the central core. A massive energy source pulsed at its heart. The readings were unstable, threatening to overload and collapse. Leo studied it. We can stabilize it, he said, but it will require precise adjustments and constant observation. Anyone can follow instructions, but only humans can adapt in real time to these changes. Lady Vexra, standing behind the team, watched him carefully. Her admiration had grown into understanding. Humans were not just clever, they were unique. Their intuition, courage, and adaptability allowed them to accomplish what no alien or machine could. Leo led the stabilization effort, guiding the team through the complex adjustments. Slowly, the core's energy balanced. The strange pulses subsided. The derelict ship fell silent, calm, and stable. The team breathed collectively, relief washing over them. They had succeeded where technology alone would have failed. Back on the Eclipse, Lady Vexra addressed the crew. Her voice was calm but commanding, carrying authority and respect. Today you witnessed the difference humans make, she said. Where others might hesitate, a human observes and adapts. Where systems fail, a human finds a way forward. Remember this. Humans are not just participants in this fleet. They are essential. Sarath, still skeptical, muttered, Perhaps humans are more capable than I imagined. Leo smiled faintly. We just do what is necessary, he said. We observe, we adapt, and we act. That's how humans survive. Lady Vexra's gaze met his. For the first time, she spoke with a note of admiration. It seems the galaxy underestimated your species, no longer. From this day forward, humans will have a place not just among the fleet, but in its future. Your courage and ingenuity have proven that. The Eclipse resumed its patrol through the stars, carrying not just its crew, but a new understanding of humanity's role in the galaxy. Leo walked quietly among the consoles, humble yet confident, aware that this was only the beginning. Humans had shown their value, not through strength alone, but through mind, courage, and the willingness to act when others froze. The galaxy would remember this day, for it was a day when humanity's true potential was revealed. And somewhere beyond the stars, the derelict vessel lay quiet, a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability, waiting for the next challenge to come. The Eclipse sailed through the calm stretch of space, its engines humming steadily, its systems fully stabilized after the derelict vessel incident. For the crew, the tension of the past days had shifted into quiet confidence. Humans, led by Leo, had proven their worth again and again, showing ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. The galaxy, it seemed, was beginning to recognize that humanity was not just another species, it was exceptional. Yet Lady Vexra knew that recognition alone would not secure humanity's place in the fleet. Other fleets across the Coalition, were reporting strange phenomena, unexpected energy surges, malfunctioning AI, and unexplained communications interference. There were hints that ancient forces, long dormant, were stirring. The galaxy was entering a period of uncertainty, and only those who could adapt would survive. "Human," Lady Vexra called, her voice carrying authority and respect. "Your skills have become invaluable. I have a mission that requires your leadership. Are you prepared?" Leo nodded. "I am ready, Admiral." The Admiral gestured to a holographic display of the sector. "We have detected a massive energy source on the edge of this region. We believe it to be a beacon of some kind, ancient, powerful, and unstable. Its signals could be a warning or a call for help. Your task is to investigate and stabilize it if possible. The fleet cannot risk interference without your guidance." Leo studied the display carefully. The beacon was enormous, a relic of a civilization long vanished. Its energy pulses were erratic, sometimes too strong for sensors to read accurately. "We can do this," he said calmly. "We just need to observe, understand, and act carefully." The journey to the beacon took several hours. During this time, Leo worked closely with the crew, explaining the strategy. Analyze the pulses, identify weak points, and synchronize their ship's energy flow with the beacon to prevent overload. Unlike a machine or AI, Leo emphasized, humans could notice subtle patterns, adapt to unexpected changes, and think creatively when standard procedures failed. As the eclipse approached the beacon, its enormous form came into view, a towering structure of alien alloys and crystal-like conduits glowing with unstable energy. The ship's sensors detected massive power fluctuations, enough to disable ships or warp space-time if handled incorrectly. "Steady," Leo instructed. "The energy pulses are strong but rhythmic. Watch the patterns, small adjustments, one at a time. Move carefully." The crew followed his lead. Unlike previous missions, the challenge was now more complex. The beacon's energy could not simply be rerouted or stabilized with standard protocols. It required intuition, real-time analysis, and the ability to improvise, all qualities humans excelled at. Suddenly, a surge hit the ship. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the energy sensors spiked. The beacon seemed to respond as if aware of the eclipse's presence. Alien engineers froze, unsure how to react. "Focus," Leo said calmly. "Do not panic. Observe the pattern, then act." He guided the ship's energy systems to match the beacon's pulses. Small adjustments, carefully timed, prevented overload and stabilized the flow. The ship shuddered under the immense power, but Leo's steady hand ensured control. "Keep watching," he instructed the team. "This is delicate. One wrong move and we could trigger a chain reaction." Minutes passed, and the beacon's energy slowly synchronized with the eclipse. The chaotic pulses began to smooth, radiating a controlled brilliance across the ship's sensors. The crew breathed collectively, amazed at the calm, focused approach of a single human guiding them through near-impossible circumstances. Lady Vexra observed silently from the command deck. She had seen countless crises in her career. Faced threats no species should endure, yet she had never seen anything like this. A human, unarmed with alien enhancements or over-reliance on AI, had mastered a power that even the most advanced technology struggled to contain. "Remarkable," she whispered. "Only a human could do this." The stabilization was not complete, however. The beacon was designed to send a signal, and its purpose remained uncertain. Leo studied the readings carefully. "It's a call," he said. "Not a warning. The original builders wanted help, or to alert others of a danger." The fleet waited silently. Leo formulated a plan. "We can amplify the beacon's signal," he explained to Lady Vexra, "but we need to ensure it does not trigger instability. If we synchronize carefully, we can broadcast a message into the galaxy, one that says, 'Humans are here,' and that we can stabilize even the most unpredictable systems." Lady Vexra nodded. "Do it, human. Show the galaxy what your species is capable of." Leo coordinated the team. Humans and aliens alike worked under his direction, adjusting power flows, monitoring feedback, and calculating safe thresholds. Every decision required judgment, observation, and adaptability. The beacon, ancient and unpredictable, challenged every expectation, but the human-led team persisted. Finally, after hours of careful work, the beacon's energy stabilized completely. Its pulse, once chaotic and dangerous, now radiated a steady brilliance. The signal, amplified by the Eclipse's systems, sent a clear message across the sector and beyond. We are here. We act. We adapt. Humanity answers the call. The fleet reacted immediately. Ships from distant colonies received the signal and reported back, astonished at the clarity and power. For the first time, humans were recognized not just as participants, but as leaders, capable of solving problems no AI or alien procedure could manage alone. Lady Vexra approached Leo, her posture rigid but her eyes full of respect. Human, you have done more than stabilize a ship or a beacon. You have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. This day will be remembered. Leo shook his head, modest. I only did what was necessary. Humans adapt, we observe, we act, that's all. Anyone could have done it if they think the way humans do. She studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Perhaps not anyone. Perhaps only a human could do this so calmly, so decisively, and so effectively. The crew, watching silently, understood that history had been made. Humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. They had proven their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability beyond question. The Eclipse prepared to leave the beacon behind, but Leo had one final thought. We can leave the signal active, he said. Let it act as a guide for others who may come across it. Let it be a warning and a call. For those who need it, humans will answer. Lady Vexra smiled faintly. It seems humans do not just survive, they leave a mark.
A legacy. As the ship sailed away, the beacon pulsed steadily, broadcasting across the stars. Somewhere far beyond the reaches of known space, another fleet would detect it. They would see that humanity had mastered the unpredictable, faced
challenges with calm and courage, and had risen above expectation. The Eclipse's crew felt a sense of pride and purpose unlike any they had experienced before. Humans had shown that they could lead, adapt, and solve problems that no AI or alien protocols could. The galaxy had taken notice. Leo walked quietly through the engineering bay, glancing at the consoles. He felt neither pride nor arrogance, only the calm satisfaction of having done what was necessary. Humanity's potential had been revealed, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Lady Vexra stood beside him for a moment, silent, thoughtful. Humans, she said finally, are not just participants in this galaxy. They are essential, and one day they may define it. Leo smiled faintly. We just try to do what's right. That's all anyone can do. The Eclipse continued its journey through the stars, carrying humans and aliens together, united in purpose. And somewhere across countless light years, the beacon shone bright, a symbol of hope, ingenuity, and the undeniable truth. When the galaxy faces the unexpected, humanity will answer. The crew returned to their normal routines, but the memory of this mission stayed with them forever. Stories of the human engineer who saved the ship, stabilized the derelict vessel, and finally controlled the ancient beacon spread through the fleet. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Only a human could do that. Only a human would act like that. Only a human answers when the impossible arises. It became a legend, not of strength alone, but of mind, courage, and adaptability. And in the quiet of space, Leo looked at the stars and thought simply, humanity had proven itself. The galaxy would never doubt them again. The human fleet on Earth had watched the alien devastation with growing concern, but Alex Ryden and the crew of the Aurora were not content to sit and wait. They had seen enough to know that the alien queen's power, while vast, was not absolute. Her strength lay in her armor, her fleets, and her confidence, but humans had an advantage she could not anticipate: creativity. Alex gathered his small team in the ship's strategy room, a room filled with holographic star maps, ship schematics, and real-time reports from outer colonies. Mara, his co-pilot and strategist, leaned over the hologram, her finger tracing a path along the enemy supply lines. "The Queen expects brute force," she said. "Her patrols are designed to crush armies, not trick a small ship. We need to be unpredictable, hit her where she doesn't expect, and we can learn her weaknesses." Alex nodded. "Exactly. We won't fight like they do. We fight smart, precise, and fast. One mistake on her side and we exploit it." The crew had already seen hints of these weaknesses. Alien patrols were rigid. Their movements were predictable. Even their communications, though encrypted, followed patterns. Alex realized that by carefully observing, humans could find openings, small but significant. And from small openings, humans could create large opportunities. The first step was reconnaissance. The team divided into small squads, each with a specific mission. Some would observe the Queen's fleet movements. Others would monitor her planetary outposts, and a few would attempt minor sabotage without ever being detected. The Aurora moved silently through the void, its stealth systems hiding it from alien sensors. Every maneuver was calculated, every scan analyzed. The human crew discovered that the Queen's patrol ships avoided certain asteroid fields, considering them dangerous to navigate. "Perfect," Alex said quietly. "We can use those fields to approach targets undetected." The first mission was bold. A human squad infiltrated a minor supply depot on the planet Vera 6, the same place Alex had observed earlier. Using small drones and remote devices, they disrupted communications and delayed supplies. The Queen's army, frustrated by the sudden setbacks, assumed sabotage by minor rebels. They had no idea a single human starship had orchestrated it. When the squad returned to Aurora, Alex gathered them in the control room. "This is exactly what humans do best," he said. "We don't just attack. We adapt, we plan, and we learn from every step. The Queen may be armored and strong, but she's predictable. That is our strength." Days turned into weeks as the human crew continued their missions. They studied enemy patterns, noting the rigid formations, the predictable timing, and the overconfidence of alien officers. Every observation was logged, every small victory celebrated quietly. The aliens began to notice the interference but could not determine its source. "Captain," Mara said one day, pointing at the hologram, "the Queen's main fleet is scheduled to pass near the Lyran belt in 3 cycles. This is a perfect chance to test a new tactic." Alex leaned closer. The Lyran belt was dense with asteroids, usually avoided by the alien fleet due to the risk of collision. But the humans could navigate it with precision. "We'll use it," he said. "We can strike a minor outpost in full view of her fleet and disappear before they can react. The goal is not to destroy, but to prove humans cannot be controlled or predicted." Preparation took hours. Engineers on board Aurora modified drones to mimic small human ships, sending false signals across the belt. Mara calculated every trajectory, every timing, every potential obstacle. The crew ran simulations until they could execute the plan perfectly. When the time came, the humans moved into position. The Queen's fleet passed through the edge of the belt, unaware of the trap waiting in the shadows. Alex gave the command. "Launch." Drones zipped through the asteroids, creating holographic illusions of human ships attacking the outpost. The aliens responded instantly, diverting ships to defend the imaginary threat. Meanwhile, the Aurora slipped through undetected, placing devices that temporarily disrupted the outpost systems. By the time the Queen's fleet realized the deception, the humans were gone, leaving only confusion behind. Back on the ship, the crew celebrated quietly. "Another success," Alex said, smiling. "And each success teaches us more. The Queen is strong, but she is also overconfident. She thinks humans are small, limited, and predictable. She is wrong." While humans adapted quickly, the Queen grew frustrated. Reports from her advisors described strange incidents: supply depots malfunctioning, patrols diverted by illusions, and minor outposts resisting occupation. Her rage was palpable, but she could not locate the source of the interference. Meanwhile, Alex noticed something else. The Queen's energy armor, while formidable, had patterns in its activation. Her shields pulsed in rhythm with her fleet's movements. "Every system has a rhythm," Alex said to Mara. "Even the strongest armor has a pattern. We just need to find it." They studied the armor's pulses for days, using sensors to measure energy outputs. The crew realized that while the armor could withstand direct attacks, Its energy distribution shifted during certain maneuvers, leaving brief, tiny gaps. These gaps were short-lived, almost imperceptible, but enough for a precise human strike. "This is it," Alex said. "This is our chance. We can't hit her yet, but we can observe and prepare. One day we will strike the exact moment her armor is vulnerable." The human edge, Alex realized, was not firepower. It was patience, intelligence, and timing. Humans could plan, adapt, and think in ways other species did not. While alien forces relied on strength, humans relied on ingenuity. During a quiet moment in the observation deck, Alex looked out at the stars. "It's not just the Queen we have to beat," he said to Mara, who stood beside him. "It's the idea that humans are weak. Every move we make, every mission we succeed in proves that wrong." Mara nodded. "And every small victory gives the colonies hope. They see that humans can fight back. That's just as important as striking the Queen directly." The crew continued to train, refine tactics, and prepare for the ultimate confrontation. They studied alien behavior, tested devices, and simulated attacks. Alex insisted that every member of the crew understand that creativity and courage were as valuable as weapons. One day, a message arrived from a distant colony, praising human ingenuity. Civilians had sabotaged minor alien operations, inspired by the actions of the Aurora. Alex realized that humans were not just fighting for survival, they were becoming a symbol, a spark of resistance across the galaxy. Yet as humans celebrated these victories, the Queen became aware of a growing pattern. A single human starship, invisible and unpredictable, was disrupting her plans repeatedly. She ordered her generals to find this trickster human and warned them not to underestimate its cunning. But her overconfidence remained. She believed that her armor and her fleets were proof of her strength. She could not yet imagine that humans could match her not with raw power, but with intelligence, creativity, and determination. And so the stage was set. Humans were learning, adapting, and growing stronger with every encounter. The Queen's armor, formidable as it was, had weaknesses that no alien could see but humans could. And the crew of the Aurora was determined to find them. Alex knew the next steps would be dangerous. The Queen's fury would soon turn toward them directly, but he also knew that humans had something no armor could stop, the ability to think, to adapt, and to act when others hesitate. As the stars stretched endlessly ahead, Alex felt a surge of confidence. "We're ready," he said. "The Queen may have her armor, her fleet, and her pride, but she does not have one thing humans have, the courage to be unpredictable." The Aurora moved silently, a small but determined spark against the vast darkness of the alien threat. Every mission, every observation, every minor success was building toward the moment when humans would strike, and when the alien Queen would finally see that even the mightiest armor could not withstand the human spirit. The Aurora drifted in the shadows of a barren moon, its lights dimmed, its systems silent except for the low hum of life support. Captain Alex Ryden stood in the command room, his eyes locked on the holographic projection of the alien Queen's flagship. It hovered above a conquered world like a predator, its black armor gleaming against the faint starlight. For weeks, Alex and his crew had studied the ship. They had mapped its patrols, analyzed its energy outputs, and noted every small fluctuation in its shields. The Queen's armor was legendary, but Alex had discovered its secret, brief, narrow gaps that appeared during energy transfers. These weaknesses were invisible to most, but not to human eyes trained to look for patterns and imperfections. "We can't destroy the Queen's ship outright," Mara said, her voice calm but sharp. She leaned over the hologram, her finger tracing a vulnerable point near the rear of the vessel. "But we can strike this junction. If we disable it, her armor will falter long enough to prove that she's not invincible." Alex nodded. "That's all we need. To show her and her fleet that humans can reach her. Once her armor is cracked, the galaxy will know she can bleed." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The plan was bold, almost reckless. Attacking the Queen directly was unthinkable to most, but Alex believed it was necessary. Humanity couldn't win by hiding forever. They needed a symbol, a moment that would echo across the stars. "Prepare the drones," Alex ordered. "Load the EMP charges. We're going in." The journey toward the Queen's flagship was tense. The Aurora crept through the void, weaving between alien patrols and sensor nets. Every movement had to be precise, every calculation flawless. The crew worked in silence, each member focused on their task. Mara guided the ship through an asteroid field, her hands steady on the controls. "We're masked by the debris," she said. "They won't see us coming." At the engineering station, Kieran, the ship's chief engineer, monitored the drones. "Charges are armed," he reported. "But once we launch, they'll notice us. We'll only have minutes before the entire fleet locks onto us." Alex stood at the center, his expression calm but resolute. "Minutes are enough. We strike, then we disappear. No mistakes." The Queen's flagship loomed larger as the Aurora drew closer. Its surface bristled with weapons, towers, and shields, a fortress in space. Yet Alex's eyes were fixed on one point: the rear energy junction, a glowing hub where the armor's power cycled. "Launch drones," Alex commanded. Small, sleek. Machines shot out from the Aurora, their engines silent, their bodies cloaked by stealth fields. They moved like shadows, slipping between enemy sensors heading straight for the junction. The crew watched as the drones attached themselves to the surface of the Queen's ship. "Charges armed," Kieran whispered. Alex raised his hand. "Detonate!" The void lit up with a silent flash as the drones unleashed electromagnetic pulses. For a brief moment, the Queen's armor flickered. The gleaming surface dimmed, its flawless reflection cracking with unstable energy. Cheers erupted on the Aurora. "It worked," Mara shouted. "Her armor is down." But the celebration was short-lived. Alarms blared as the Queen's fleet responded. Dozens of alien ships turned toward the disturbance, their weapons powering up. "They've seen us," Kieran said, his hands flying across the controls. "We need to move now." The Aurora shot away from the flagship, weaving through incoming fire. Beams of energy cut across the darkness, but Mara piloted with unmatched precision, spinning and diving through the chaos. The crew held their breath as the ship narrowly avoided destruction. On the Queen's flagship, the alien Queen herself rose from her throne, her eyes blazing with fury. Never before had her armor been touched. To her, it was more than protection. It was a symbol of her supremacy. Now, a single human vessel had pierced that illusion. "Find them!" she roared to her generals. "Bring me the human who dares." Her voice carried through the fleet, her rage igniting a relentless pursuit. Back on the Aurora, Alex steadied himself against the shaking walls as the ship jolted from near misses. "We proved our point," he said through gritted teeth. "Now we get out alive." Mara's hands danced across the controls. "Hold on." She steered the ship into another asteroid field, using the dense rocks as cover. Alien ships followed, but their rigid formations slowed them. Humans, with their instinct for improvisation, darted through the field like hunters. Explosions echoed as alien ships collided with debris, unable to adapt quickly enough. The Aurora slipped deeper into the shadows, its stealth systems flickering back online. Minutes later, silence returned. The pursuing ships were gone, tricked and trapped by the humans' daring maneuvers. The crew exhaled in relief, but Alex remained standing, his gaze fixed on the hologram. The image of the Queen's flagship still flickered with damage at the energy junction. "We did it," Mara said softly, her voice filled with awe. "We touched the untouchable." Alex nodded. "And now she knows it. She knows humans are not afraid. She knows her armor is not perfect. That's the first step to victory." News of the strike spread quickly, carried by whispers across colonies and resistance groups. For the first time, the galaxy heard of a human starship that had dared to attack the alien Queen herself, and succeeded. To many it was unthinkable, a myth come alive. Colonies under alien control found new courage. Sabotage efforts increased. Civilians resisted occupation with renewed determination. The Queen's aura of invincibility had cracked just like her armor. But the Queen herself was far from defeated. In her throne room, she stood before her damaged armor, her hands clenched in fury. She vowed that the human responsible would be captured and made an example. Her fleets doubled their patrols, her spies spread across space, and her focus sharpened on one goal: hunting the human who dared. Aboard the Aurora, the crew repaired their systems and prepared for the next step. They had survived the impossible, but Alex knew this was only the beginning. The Queen's fury would bring new challenges, harsher battles, and greater risks. As the ship drifted silently through space, Alex gathered his crew once more. "We've shown her weakness," he said. "But this is just the start. The galaxy needs more than a spark. It needs a fire. And we will be the ones to light it." The crew looked at him, their faces tired but determined. They had faced the Queen and lived. They had cracked her armor. And they knew the fight ahead would be long but winnable. Mara placed a hand on Alex's shoulder. "You realize she won't stop now. She'll come for us." Alex smiled faintly. "Good. Let her come. Every time she strikes, she'll find that humans are not what she thinks. We're not just survivors, we're builders, dreamers, fighters, and we're not done yet." The stars stretched endlessly before them, but for the humans aboard the Aurora, they were no longer cold and distant. They were a battlefield, a stage where humanity would prove itself. The alien Queen raged over her cracked armor, but one human had claimed responsibility, and that single act had changed everything. The alien Queen's fleet moved across the galaxy like a shadow, seeking to crush any resistance in its path. Yet every planet she conquered faced a new kind of challenge, not one of strength but of ingenuity. Humans had shown that even the mightiest armor could be touched, and that revelation spread quickly. On the Aurora, Captain Alex Ryden gathered his crew around the holographic star map. Each glowing dot represented a planet under alien control or a colony resisting quietly. Alex traced the paths of patrols, supply lines, and strategic outposts. "We've seen her weakness," he said, "and now it's time to use it. Not with brute force, but with strategy. Every colony we inspire, every supply chain we disrupt, brings her closer to a mistake she can't recover from." Mara, scanning the map, pointed to a cluster of mining worlds on the edge of the system. "These are lightly guarded but critical to her fleet. We could strike them indirectly, create diversions, and train the local populations to resist." Alex smiled. "Exactly. Humans are small in the eyes of the Queen, but we multiply when we inspire others. We turn fear into courage." The first operation targeted Cirrus 7, a mining planet crucial to the Queen's energy supply. Alex sent small teams of engineers disguised as human transport vessels to sabotage mining equipment. At the same time, drones and holographic projections created the illusion of an approaching fleet, forcing the Queen's ships to divert from other regions. The operation succeeded flawlessly. Alien patrols were misdirected, the miners sabotaged critical machinery, and supplies were delayed. Civilians who had watched humans act bravely against the Queen's flagship joined in subtly, hiding tools, sending signals, and misleading alien forces. Back on the Aurora, the crew observed the chaos through long-range sensors. "It's beautiful," Kieran said quietly. "She has numbers, she has strength, but she can't handle unpredictability." Alex nodded. "This is the human edge. We adapt, we improvise, we think where others cannot. Every move we make teaches her one lesson. Humans are not predictable, and once she realizes that fully, it will change the war." Word of human daring spread quickly. Across the galaxy, colonies inspired by Alex and his crew began minor acts of resistance. They hid supplies, misled patrols, and even sabotaged ships. Every act was small, but together they created a ripple effect that slowed the Queen's advance. On her flagship, the alien Queen raged. Reports of failures reached her constantly. Supply depots destroyed, patrols tricked, colonies resisting. She had never faced a species that could think so differently, act so cleverly, and coordinate without centralized control. Her armor, once a symbol of invincibility, now felt like a cage. She summoned her generals. "The humans are clever," she hissed. "Not because they are strong, but because they are unpredictable. Hunt them, find the source, destroy it." Yet even with orders, her fleet could not adapt to the flexibility of human strategies. They reacted slowly, striking in the wrong places, chasing illusions or attacking empty coordinates while real operations occurred elsewhere. Every misstep was a small victory for humanity. Meanwhile, Alex and his team studied every engagement. The more they observed, the more they learned about the Queen's behavior, her fleet's tendencies, and her overconfidence. They realized that she relied heavily on rigid formations and predictable responses, which could be exploited. The next step was a daring mission to a heavily guarded communication hub in the Alpha Prime sector. This hub controlled information across multiple colonies, allowing the Queen to coordinate her fleets efficiently. By disrupting it, humans could delay her fleet movements and create confusion. The mission required precision. Alex split the crew into teams, each responsible for a specific task. Mara and Kieran would handle technological disruption, small drone units would disable defenses, and Alex would coordinate the approach. The Aurora approached the hub under the cover of a dense asteroid field. The human crews maneuvered silently, evading patrols with careful timing. As drones deployed, sensors mapped every turret, every sentry, and every patrol schedule. Patience and timing, Alex whispered. That's the human way. The mission unfolded perfectly. Drones sabotaged the hub's communications, creating false signals that confused the Queen's fleet. Patrols pursued shadows, leaving the real humans free to complete their tasks. Within hours, the communication hub was crippled, and the Queen's coordination faltered. Across the sector, colonies noticed the change immediately. Messages that had been blocked suddenly reached other worlds. Civilians began acting on new intelligence, disrupting supply lines and avoiding patrols. The humans had not just attacked, they had created a network of resistance. The Queen's frustration reached a peak. She could see the results of her armor and strength failing indirectly. Humans were small, yet they caused enormous disruption. They were not destroying fleets directly. They were making the Queen's resources less effective, her soldiers uncertain, and her colonies restless. Back on the Aurora, Alex observed the pattern forming. Every action we take builds momentum, he explained to his crew. The Queen has numbers, technology, and raw power, but humans have creativity, adaptability, and courage. She underestimates those things at her own peril, Kieran added, and every mistake she makes we learn from. We adapt faster than she does. That's why she can't predict us. The human advantage grew with every mission. The crew coordinated strikes across multiple systems, creating confusion in the Queen's fleet. Small teams sabotaged supply lines, intercepted patrols, and inspired local populations to resist. Every victory, no matter how minor, reinforced the idea that humans were more than they appeared. Civilians and minor resistance groups became extensions of the Aurora's influence. They delivered intelligence, set up diversions, and provided safe passages. The humans were not just a ship or a crew, they were a spark igniting a galaxy-wide flame. In the Queen's flagship, her rage intensified. Reports described human ingenuity at every turn. Every colony resisting, every patrol misled, every supply delay, it all pointed to one truth. Humans were different from any species she had faced. Her generals advised caution, but she refused. The human must be caught, she insisted. Armor is not enough. Strength is not enough. Find him, or everything we have built will crumble. For the crew of the Aurora, the Queen's anger was a sign of progress. Every miscalculation she made, every fleet diverted or delayed, was proof that humans could succeed. Alex's crew refined their strategies continuously, learning from every engagement and adapting to unexpected circumstances. We're not just surviving, Alex told his crew. We're teaching the galaxy that humans are a force to be reckoned with. That is our strength, and we will use it wisely. Mara smiled. And one day, all of this will lead to the moment when we strike at the Queen herself. Not with numbers, but with precision. Not with strength, but with intelligence, Alex nodded. The Queen may rage over her armor now, but every battle we fight makes her more vulnerable. Every colony we inspire, every operation we complete, is a step toward victory. And humans, small as they may seem, will prove unstoppable when they work together. Weeks passed. The humans' influence spread across the sectors. Minor victories became larger campaigns. Alien patrols struggled to adapt, constantly reacting instead of acting. Civilians, inspired by the courage of one ship and its crew, grew bold. They hid supplies, sabotaged systems, and passed intelligence to human teams moving in secret. Alex watched it all, his eyes bright with determination. This is what humans do best, he said. We adapt, we create, we inspire. Armor cannot stop ideas. Strength cannot stop courage, and we will keep proving that every day. Even the Queen had begun to notice a troubling pattern. The humans were not just clever, they were everywhere. Every attempt to predict or control their actions failed, and with each failure her rage grew, clouding her judgment and leading to more mistakes. On the Aurora, Alex placed a hand on the control panel, looking out at the stars. The Queen may have armor. She may have numbers. But humans have something stronger, the ability to think, to adapt, and to act where others hesitate. That is what will win this war. The galaxy, vast and uncertain, had begun to take notice. Small sparks of rebellion ignited by human courage were spreading like wildfire. The alien queen raged over her armor, but the humans pressed on, and with each victory, no matter how small, humanity proved that even in the darkest void of space, their spirit could shine brighter than any weapon or shield. The stage was set. Humans had found their edge, and soon the Queen would face the full force of human ingenuity. Not just one ship, not just one crew, but a species determined to be more than history had ever predicted.